sport, her life.
This is Her Why.
Here's your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so excited to have you here with us on Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. Today's guest is Claire Little Chambers, a junior from the BYU women's volleyball team. Claire is one of the most decorated recruits in BYU volleyball history, a top 10 national prospect, AVCA high school first-team All-American, and a member of the USA Collegiate National Team. Now she's an outside hitter for BYU with an already stacked volleyball resume. She's married to BYU men's middle blocker Gavin Chambers, and her brother Ian Little is also on the men's team. So volleyball is truly a family affair. Claire, thank you so much for coming on with me.
Thank you for having me.
That's kind of crazy that all of you are playing volleyball here at the same time. That's got to be really fun, though.
Oh my gosh, it's literally the best because my brother went on his mission like right after COVID. So that was like in the middle of my high school times, and we never got to go to high school together, and we were pretty close. So it was fun because when you're spending so much time with someone that also loves the same sport as you, going to practices, waiting for his practices, you become pretty close. So it was fun to get to go to college together and have that experience, but we love it.
Well, you're also recently married. You used to be Claire Little. Now you added the Chambers part on this past summer. What has married life been like for you so far?
Oh my gosh, I tell everyone it's life-changing, and it literally is life-changing. But it's been just so good to have something outside the sport. I think what I was really missing was that separation a little bit more, and like meeting him and marrying him, like God's timing was just so perfect in the sense that I needed a little bit more separation and a little bit more identity outside of volleyball. And I truly, like, going through the temple, getting married, gave me such a different perspective of like, this is really just a sport I play, and I have such a more eternal purpose. And so he has really helped me like kind of own who I am and what I am outside the sport and have that purpose, and just having someone that supports you and understands the sacrifices you're making, the journey, the goals you have, and like really supporting that is just, it's everything.
So before you met Gavin, do you feel like you were having a little bit of a hard time finding yourself? I
think I was, in a weird position where I was still kind of adjusting to college, but then also, playing on such a high-level program. And sometimes when you get to this level, it becomes work. And I've always really loved it as a sport. And so I just finding that separation again of this is just a sport, and being able to do it at such a high level and understanding the sacrifices. I don't think anyone really understands what kind of sacrifices they're making coming into college until you do it. And it's just like, it's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother world to adjust from high school to college and understanding that responsibility. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's given me some of the toughest but best lessons of my life. But it's hard. It's super hard.
And like you mentioned, how cool to have not only Gavin, but Ian that understands what you're going through and have those guys to lean on. You're obviously both very busy with volleyball, but what's something the two of you like to do outside of volleyball together?
We love anything. We're very sportsy, so like any sports. Pickleball is huge in Utah, so that's one that we've really picked up. Just hanging out a lot of the time. We're watching like fun movies together because we are so busy. As soon as school picks up, though, like finding time to do more date nights, just going out to eat or going and doing. One that we really, really love doing is we love going to the batting cages, and we'll just go hit. Yeah, like we just absolutely love it. He loves baseball. I actually loved softball more than volleyball when I first started sports. And so coming to college and playing volleyball was like, whoa, because I was like, I thought I was going to be a softball player. My mom had different plans, but no, now I'm a volleyball player, but it is still super fun to go. And like, once you've done a sport for so long, you want to like try other sports and try to like learn more, because there's a little bit more of a learning gap there where it's like you kind of pick things up a little quicker.
Yeah.
You haven't been doing them for 10 plus years.
Right.
So yeah, we love going to the batting cages together. That one is super fun.
When you guys are together, outside of volleyball, obviously. Do you find yourselves talking about volleyball? Or are you kind of like, let's talk about anything else besides the sport?
Gavin's so good at that. Super good at that. He knows that, like, especially me, I need that separation. I'm not as good at it yet. I'm getting better. But it's like after games, nope, we're doing something else. We're focusing on something else. After practices, we're focusing on something else. We're doing something else. And usually, like, the best way to get out of, always talking about the same thing is, like, switching the topic fast in the sense of, like, doing an activity. So, like, any sort of thing afterwards where, we see each other and it's just like, okay, volleyball is over there. That's our job and that's what we do. And now it's like we're here together and this is our home and family, and what we do here isn't connected to that.
Now that volleyball is underway, though, the season's underway, what does a day in the life look like for the two of you? Because it's got to be super busy. What does it look like?
I'll give you kind of like a general idea. We're getting up, we're going to class. We actually have a couple classes together, which is super fun because it's just an extra way to see each other because our schedules are so busy. So we get up, we go to class. He goes to his practice. I'm in another class. And then I go to my practice. And sometimes he has an evening class or he'll just do his homework all throughout that time. Sometimes he's actually going to start picking up like a little bit of a job working with some volleyball players up in Wasatch. And so he'll do that while I'm at practice. And then we both come back at around 6. And we're both back together. And it's great. And then we do dinner and homework and relax and decompress for the next day.
And do it all over again.
Yep, all over again, every single day.
You mentioned that you preferred softball when you were younger, but how did you get into volleyball growing up?
So my mom is a volleyball coach. She got her master's here for physical education. And when she came, she worked with Carl McGowan because the women's coach didn't need any like assistance or anything. And she was just like, hey, I just want to learn. I just want to learn about the game. I want to learn. And so she came and she worked with Carl. She did gold medal square stuff. She still does gold medal square. But I grew up in that environment of like volleyball. She is so passionate about the sport that every time, like when someone's passionate, they're just expressing how much they love it constantly, right? And I love that. And she would always constantly express that to us. And so we did softball and we did volleyball, and it came to that year where it was like, you got to pick one. And I was like, well, I'm picking softball. And she was like, well, not really a choice.
What year was that? When did that happen?
It was like, I was probably 11.
Okay.
So it was younger, but it was like getting to a point where it's like, you can't do both. Like we're kind of getting, because at that time it was like, you kind of pick one competitively. So it was like, I was 11, but it was probably more like 12, 11. But
so you're like, I'm gonna do softball, and she's like, wrong answer.
Yeah,
it's actually gonna be volleyball.
Well, she was like, you're tall, you have these like amazing abilities, and at that time we didn't really know how tall I was gonna be, but I was still way above everybody else in height wise, and so she was like, I think your skills will be better set for this sport, and I was like, okay, whatever, like fine, I'll do it, and it ended up being the best decision I've ever made, obviously, or she ever made, because I'm here playing collegiate volleyball, and I couldn't be happier about that. So,
What did life look like for you, and more importantly for your parents, when you have a twin brother you mentioned, but he wasn't into volleyball, but your older brother Ian was. What did life look like for you guys at that time when you're both in club and just engrossed in volleyball?
Oh my gosh. Well, everyone always asks if I'm close with my twin, and I would say I'm closer now than I was then, because me and my older brother are closer, because it was like school, straight to the gym. I did my practice. We waited for his practice. Sometimes I'd play with his team. Most of the time I'd play with his team because my mom was coaching his team at the time. And so we were just doing 4 hours of volleyball every night, or not every night, but a couple nights of the week, right? And so when you're spending that much time together just doing that sport, it's very busy. And then my mom would do that with us, and then we'd come home. And my twin would have his track. He'd go do his track, and then he'd come back. And we'd all come back, and it was just like, we were crazy. We were running around the house, doing crazy stuff. But I love having brothers, and I love them so much. But, yeah, no, it's super busy. I mean, I'm sure as soon as your kids get into school, it gets busy with all the extra activities and projects and all of that. So I like to argue that I've been a student athlete my whole life.
Well, and I think that's cool. You played with your brother
Yeah.
for a little while. How did that push you? And do you feel like made you a better athlete at that time?
I 100% think that. I mean, everyone always talks about extra reps and getting privates and getting those things, but my mom never really believed in privates because she was like, well, what can you really do? That's game realistic with one person. And I was like, that's totally true. And so she'd just throw me into these boys' practices. And at the time, we're like 13. So
Yeah.
I'm about the same size as the kid next to me.
Right.
So at that time, it's safe. You know, I can play with them. And obviously now I could probably not keep up with these boys. They're a lot bigger and stronger at this level. But yeah, I played with them until they were about 15, 16s, and then they started getting a lot bigger than me. But I would say defensively, it pushed me a lot. It kind of helped me pick up a quicker game a little bit faster because the boys were a lot more physical. So it just challenged me to get balls that girls weren't hitting yet. Mm-hmm. And then also I'm just so competitive. If you put a guy in front of me, I'm going to be 10 times more competitive because I want to beat them. So it really drove me to like work through mistakes. Like if somebody's in front of me that I want to beat, like a mistake's inevitable and I got to work through that. And so just the physical side of the men's sport really pushed me to be a little bit quicker and play a bit faster.
So now you have two people that you're watching on the men's volleyball team. You have your husband, Gavin, and then you have your brother, Ian. What's it like for you when you go to the men's volleyball matches since now you have such a big investment in the games?
Yeah. It is, oh my gosh, it is so stressful. I tell my mom this all the time. I'm like, I didn't even, like, that's not even my kid, but I watch my brother go in to serve or I watch Gavin go in and I'm like biting my nails because I'm like, when I go in and play, I know it, like I have control of the situation, right? Like I know if I mess up, it's, you know, not great. But I know how to deal with that because that's my stress, right? But watching someone else do it and you have no idea what they're going to do or what they're thinking, 10 times more stressful than playing in a freaking competitive match that against like one of the best teams. Like I would way rather take playing on the court than watching someone play that you love because it's just, you're so anxious for them. Like you just want them. You love them so much. And you especially know how, like I know how hard they're working. And so for them to go in and have their opportunity, I just want them to succeed. And so it's really hard, but it's literally my favorite thing ever. I actually make jokes that I really try to have fun outfits because I'm like, I'm not an NFL wife. I'm a volleyball wife though. So I try to have my little NFL wife outfits and I get to dress up because it's the only time of the year that I get to actually wear clothes that aren't sweatpants and a sweatshirt. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to do it.
So are we talking like blinged up jackets? What are we?
Not quite. It's more of like a reserved version. I'm still upgrading, but I made a cute little jacket that says Chambers on the back, stuff like that. I love it. Stuff like that, but I love it. It's fun. I have fun with it.
You got a little taste of what your parents feel with the zero control. Just have to sit back and watch. It's got to be difficult. You were highly recruited out of high school. What was it about BYU during your recruiting process that made you know that this is the place you wanted to be?
Well, obviously going back to what I was saying about my mom, Carl is hugely decorated here at BYU, and everyone knows who that is. In volleyball in general, knows who that is. So her just talking about like, wow, like the quotes he'd say or the things, I can't remember them now, but she was just always like, all I can remember from what she would say about all of it is just how much passion and love and like energy she had when she talked about BYU. And those are the feelings that stood with me. And having those feelings of like, no matter what, I want to go to BYU. And it was actually funny because when we were I was young. I was really young. But my mom came into my room and was like, hey, the club director really wants you to send out some emails. Because I played up my whole life, except for my last 2 years. I played up because just at the club that we were at, there was not a team for my age group, really. And so I played up, but she was like, the club director really needs us to send out some emails. Like, it's time to start recruiting. And I'm like, I don't care about college. Like, I don't even care about school right now. Like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. And she's like, no, we got to send some out. And I'm like, you can decide. I don't care. Like, she like came back in. She's like, you need to pick 3. And I was like, okay. And I was like, BYU, BYU, can I go now? And she was like, okay, just go. And so for me, in my head, it was like, I'm going to BYU or I'm just not going to college. And she was like, well, you're going to go to college, but yeah, we can reach out to BYU. And so I just knew, like, that I wasn't going to get the same experience anywhere else. Like, I just knew in my heart, like, from the way she talked, that I wanted that experience for myself. I wanted to be able to leave a university and be like, I'm so invested in the mission, in the idea, and, like, what they believe in, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I just take it so seriously as an athlete now of, like, this is the Lord's university, and I respect that.
Well, you've mentioned during media days that coming to BYU meant wearing Heavenly Father's jersey. Yeah. What does that mean to you when you step onto the court to play?
I see it. I think I take it a little bit more seriously maybe than other people, maybe a little too deep sometimes. But for me, it's like my entire recruitment story, my story in general, everything that's happened to me good in this sport has truly been because of Heavenly Father. Like I really cannot take credit for things that have happened and blessings and opportunities. Because he's just been able to speak to me through this sport. And, like, that's been huge for me. I'm not great with school. I'm not super into it. But I love learning. And so he knew that one of the ways he could talk to me is through competition, through sport, through, being a good teammate. And I genuinely have seen so many blessings from that. And so coming here now, because of those blessings, I see it as a responsibility of like, okay, he gave me this opportunity to be here, so I need to utilize it how he sees fit. And so for me, that's being a good teammate. That's being a good competitor. That's not being a poor sport. That's showing, all these little girls and these people that bring their families to see us. Like, win or lose, they're supporting us. They're always like, great job. And I could have had the crappiest game of my life. And they're like, wow, you're so awesome. Great job. Like, and that is just such a responsibility of like, we have young girls watching us. We have young kids watching us, families, parents bringing their kids to the schools because they want their kids to go to this school. They want their kids to, see what it's like to be part of BYU. And it starts with our games. So I just take that so seriously it's a little bit of a responsibility too.
A lot of times as kids, we kind of hype things up in our mind, right?
Yeah.
So you loved BYU. You heard your mom talk about BYU. Then you get here. You've been here for a couple of years. Do you feel like it's lived up to the hype, or is it a little bit different than what you expected?
I mean, it's different. Obviously, like you said, I hyped it up so much in my head, but I hyped up my mom's experience, And she had a different experience. She wasn't a student athlete. She worked with them, but she wasn't a student athlete. So like I said before, I think we don't understand the sacrifice and what it really takes to be a competitive D1 athlete until you're here. And so obviously that comes with a lot of rough patches. It comes with injury, sickness, adversity in any way, like school, like traveling on the road a lot, all these things that, make it hard. And, for me, it's been kind of hard. I got injured my first year. I was pretty sick my second year. And now going to my third year, it's like I understand a little bit more like what it's going to take. And each year you're just learning and you're just trying to learn to the best of your ability. And, sometimes that's slow, sometimes that's quick. But, yeah, I wouldn't say it's been all sunshine and rainbows. But at the end of each year, I always come back to I wouldn't change a thing because it's exactly where I want to be. And it's I don't know why I feel like this, but I just feel like it's been easier to get through those hard things being here. And I'm sure it's because, so many opportunities to have the Sabbath day off. I take that super, super seriously. Taking that day of rest physically and mentally is huge. And then also just focusing on something a lot higher than ourselves.
Yeah.
It's been the leading force for me getting through these hard things. So that's how I see it.
You've started off this season really well. You just helped lead BYU to a sweep over High Point and took home MVP of the doTERRA Classic. What did that performance mean to you to start off like that this season, your junior season? I
saw this question and I still don't really have words because I didn't have any expectations. I think it's interesting because as athletes, you can have an amazing season, you can have a terrible season, you can be high, you can be low. But I didn't want to be that athlete that had a great season last year and didn't come back and have another good season. Or, and I wanted to be as consistent as I could. And so I've really just dialed in that, like, I'm just going to try to be as consistent as I can. And I'm not worrying about what happened in the past. I'm not worrying about what's coming in the future. I'm purely focusing on game at a time and how I can, be my best for that game. And so I really had no expectation. I had no expectation of what I was going to do. And I think that really opened up my mind and my game to be able to be so free. Because it's hard to, like, play with pressure after having good seasons, because especially in college when everyone's looking at you and they're like, oh, are you going to do what you did last year? And it's like, well, last year was a different team. So I don't know what this year is going to look like. And so I had no expectation for myself, no expectation for the team, except for I know and I have belief and trust that this team and myself can compete at a high level. And so I just want to see where that takes me. But yeah, I don't really have an expectation. I obviously am very happy with the outcome, but I wasn't focused on it.
Well, you are such a phenomenal player. You're known for your power and consistency, like you mentioned, as an outside hitter. What do you love most about being on the outside?
Oh my gosh, I love the outside. I wanted to be a setter my entire life, and my mom
really
when my mom coached me, and she was like, no, and I was like, why?
She's like once again, awesome. You're going to be really tall. You got to use that height.
And she had, and that's why putting people, Heavenly Father puts people in your life that really guide you, and you've got to trust them. But she was just like, no, you're not going to be a setter, and I was like, okay, I don't understand, and I was frustrated as a kid, but. One day she told me, she was like, I wanted you to train all positions. And when they put kids too young in positions, they don't train them as all-around, well-rounded volleyball players. And an outside hitter gets that opportunity to be a well-rounded volleyball player because you're setting, you're hitting, you're passing, you're digging, you're blocking, you're serving. And that's why I love it, because I get to do all the skills. I think I'd kind of get bored if I was just doing one. Obviously some, like, these girls that are doing middle blocker and setter and libero and all these other positions, like, I respect them. I respect them so much. I've done setter for 3 days in high school. Never again will I do that. That was terrible. It was awful. It's hard. And, I just love that I get an opportunity to do more than just hit the ball.
Yeah.
I get to challenge myself in all aspects of the game and see how well-rounded of a volleyball player I can be. Not how well-rounded of an outside I can be, but just volleyball player. And I just love that. So I get to play every aspect of the game, which is, I wouldn't ask for anything else. And I get a set, and I love setting.
Volleyball, sports are just so mental. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And I'm picturing the Smith Fieldhouse, which is absolutely bonkers during a volleyball match. What's your mindset when the game is tight, the crowd is loud, and you're stepping back to serve and all pressure's on you? How do you handle that? What's in your mind?
Well, like I said before, BYU is the best place to play because they love you if you miss that ball or if you make that ball. They love you. They love you, love you, love you. And the community here is just great. So I don't actually feel a lot of pressure when we play in the Smith Fieldhouse. The more packed, the better, because it's just like this warm blanket around you of like, no matter what happens today, they're going to support me and they're going to love me and they're going to come to my next game, So I never feel a lot of pressure from the crowd. But for sure, you want to perform for the people you love, those teammates. They're your family. And getting back there, that can be a little bit of pressure. But I think for me, we have these cues. We work with our mental strength coaches, and we talk a lot about how you talk to yourself matters. So when you're back there, you're just telling yourself, like, whether that's like, I'm an awesome server. I've made this 100 times. I've done this serve. I can do this. Like, I'm always typically telling myself just like what I want to hit. Like, I'm going to hit this girl right now. Like, I'm going to serve it right at her. Like, I'm going to get it on my target. And so, just having that like cue of like what I'm going to achieve and then seeing it happen is huge.
When we come back, Claire talks about being inducted into her high school Hall of Fame and what the best part is about this 2025 squad. This is Her Why. Family, isn't it about sports? At least that's the case in my family. We're all about family and sports on the Royal Legacy podcast, hosted by yours truly. We dive deep into the family connections of the Cougars who played and coached at BYU. New episodes every Thursday on the BYU radio app or wherever you catch your podcasts. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, and I'm here with BYU women's volleyball outside hitter Claire Little-Chambers. Your volleyball resume, Claire, is stacked. CIF titles, Player of the Year honors, Hall of Fame, Fab 50. What are you most proud of from your volleyball career so far?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of like where I am now. And no award can truly like you can't put any award to what I've achieved over the years in the sense of pressure, competition, high level games. I will say though, like one of my favorite of all time, moments was just my mindset in our state final match in high school. And like I don't really hold on to that game as much as I hold on to like how I felt in that game. And like I just remember we got all the way there and we had worked so hard. We had beaten teams that no one had thought we were going to beat. We were a public school beating a couple private schools. And in California, it's super intense when you're at that level. You're like, we were in the Division I level and we were playing for the state finals. And it was like, I think maybe the first time our school had ever gotten that far. Maybe they had gotten it before, but I'm not sure. But I just remember that game and we had gone so far and we were losing to this team that was not even close to the level of the other two teams we had played right before. And I just like looked at my teammates and I'm like, we did not like work this hard to lose this game. And like we flipped a switch, we turned it on, and I'm just proud of myself in that aspect, and I hold on to that memory because there's so many times now that I've had that same feeling of like this is what it feels like to turn it on and just like absolutely like we didn't work this hard. We don't work this hard every single day to go out and just put half of our game on the court. And so I think for me, the biggest win is my mindset and how far it's come, and just being a competitor. But, I mean, obviously all the awards are really fun.
And spoiler alert, you ended up winning, right?
Yeah,
the state championship.
Won the state championship.
So awesome.
There's no feeling like that.
And you were inducted into your high school Hall of Fame right after graduation.
I was.
That's pretty incredible. What did that mean to you?
I had no idea, like, we even had a Hall of Fame. I was like, what?
You're like, that's the thing?
No, my coach we did our banquet, and he, like, I had already known that I was going to get the MVP of, like, the league award. I had gotten the year before. So I had already known that was coming, but he, like, stood up there for a little longer, and he had this card in his hand, and I was like, okay, what's this? And he was like, I've never seen one of these before. And he's, like, telling the crowd this. And he was like, oh, this is a Hall of Fame card. And everyone was just kind of, like, caught off guard because none of us really knew what that was. And I didn't know what that was. And so, I don't know, even, like, looking back on it now, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think as an athlete you ever really, like, feel like, oh, I deserve that. Like, I don't ever feel like, oh, yeah, like, I'm a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
No, I don't think of it like that because it's just, like, I don't really know what it means still.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I just know it was a huge honor, but it's just, like, there was a whole team around me that also won, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a whole team that won that state championship with me. There was a whole team that went to CIF with me. There was a whole team. So it's, like, for one person to be, I just, as a volleyball player, as a team sport, I just never felt like, oh.
It was just you.
Just my award, right? So I like to think of it as, like, those teams that I played with will forever be like a memory for that high school. So that's how I think of it.
That's a very selfless attitude that I'm sure your teammates appreciate.
I'm sure. I don't know if they know that because, like, I've never said that before, but that's
cool,
how
though.
I feel about it.
You've been invited to multiple USA, U21, and collegiate national team camps. What has that level of play been like compared to college?
Oh, my goodness. It's similar. I think it took me a long time to realize it's similar because getting invited to all those, you kind of like, in club, you're like, whoa, these are all the best players in the country. And now in college, you're playing them Like, these
Yeah.
are my friends. I'm playing my friends. And I'm like, I met them. Like, I met them at these USA camps, and I'm like, oh, I love them. And there's always something to learn about them. And I think going into those, it's all about your mindset. Like, I think a lot of girls go into those USA camps and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to be the best here. And it's like, you're one of the best here, but they're also the best.
Right.
And you can't come in here like, oh my goodness, I'm one of the best, because you're not.
Yeah.
Everyone is just as good as you. And it's so fun, because if you go into it and you're like, what can I learn from them? You come out with so much more. And I think all the camps that I've been to, I've gone into it with that attitude of just like, oh, what can I learn from these girls?
Soak it all
I'm
in.
just so happy to be here. Like, this is amazing opportunity to see other athletes that are talented like me. And I think me and my mom talked about it a lot, but she was like, this is just such a good opportunity for you to see other people in your body type, in your position, in your level, like doing things that you're doing, you know, because in club, like in years before, it's hard when you're 6'2" and no one else is 6'2", you know? And obviously it wasn't always like that, but there was years where it was like, obviously I had a little bit of an advantage, and it was like different.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as competitive as it was when you go to these camps. And so
Now you're
when I
like,
went to
everyone's
these
as tall
camps,
as me.
Yeah, you're looking around and you're like, wow. And so then you come back to college and you just try to bring those habits that these girls have, like, you know, stretching, like extra stretching, good nutrition, all these things. And you're asking all these girls, and you're making friends with all these girls of like what they do and how they're successful. Because everyone has a different story, and everyone's successful because of different reasons. And so just learning that from these camps was huge for me, of like, what are these other people doing, and working with other coaches. Because, I mean, in college, you only get your 3 coaches, which is, love you guys. But it is really,
The
really
best
fun.
of the best.
It is really fun to, you know, just learn other ways of volleyball.
Oh, yeah. Get some different perspectives. And
100%.
I think that's incredible. You have such a fun, uplifting energy. And we watched your day in the life video, and that was, I loved it.
That was one of my favorite videos I'm most proud of all time. I can't even
Anything
take
I've ever
credit.
done. Day in the life.
I literally can't even take credit, because our videographer is amazing. I'm just going to give her a little shout out. It's Sid. Sid is truly amazing. She does great things for us.
And you had a few of your teammates that took over for a while. It was so much fun to watch. In that, you said you loved people. You're like, I just love people. You're like saying hi to people out the window. Have you always been this outgoing, or does it come out when you're in a specific element?
No, I've always been like this. I love to. I told you in the middle of our little break, I was like, I'm sorry I talk so much. I love people. They just like rejuvenate me in a way. Like, anytime that, you know, I need to like recharge or something, I'm 10 out of 10 of the time trying to talk to more people, and new people even better, because it's just more stories and more. And like I said before, it's just like you can learn so much from people. And I think it's so funny. I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, I think it's so funny that we are so focused on AI and all these other things, when it's like we can learn 10 times more from a person and a mind and a brain and other people and their stories than technology can ever teach us. And so I just like, I love holding on to other people's stories, but I love connecting, and I love being the person that can connect other people. And I think having everyone find a place and a person to talk to, everyone wants to talk.
Yeah.
Even shy people, even people that are more introverted, they want people to hear them. And so it's like, I just want to be that person that can, you know, bring that out of them. And sometimes I take it as a little challenge. Like, if I can
Someone
get
who's
their
shy?
personality out, like, then I did what I needed to do to like make them comfortable. And so I just want to make people as comfortable as possible around other people. And I think that we need more of that in the world, of just like, we're all people. We're all living this life. So
You are the definition of an extrovert.
I am
From everything
very
you just said. Another thing from your day in the life video is you said your number one tip is to be friends with as many girls in sports as you can. Yeah. What made that advice so meaningful in your own life?
One of my best friends is a swimmer here at BYU. She was my roommate, and I didn't know she was going to be my roommate till we were in a hot tub one night, and we were like, hey, are you living in this one next year? And I was like, yeah, wait, I am too. And we ended up living together, and she really helped me understand that that concept of it's so important because we're all doing the same thing. we're all doing such hard things. Just because you play a sport that maybe, you know, someone else doesn't play doesn't mean what they're doing isn't as hard. And like being her roommate was eye-opening because we needed each other. We seriously needed each other. And it's so good to get away, you know, from your own sport sometimes and, you know, dive a little bit into someone else's and understand what they're doing. Yeah. Like,
So what you did there?
No, it was perfect. But dive a little bit into other people's sports and a little bit into other people's stories because, you know, what they're doing is hard too, and understanding their commitments, and you can learn from them too. Like it's so huge to support each other, and especially, you know, if they're not feeling like they're being supported and you're not feeling you're being supported, finding each other and supporting each other. But I think we always talk about, you know, supporting women's sports, but it's like before supporting the sport, let's support each other more than anything. And, you know, that starts with showing up for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bet you're such a fantastic leader on the team right now. You just have such a great personality. You're approachable. Now that you're a junior, how are you approaching leadership on the team?
Oh, this is a good question. The same way I've always approached it. The better I can be myself and do exactly what I just told you, support my teammates, the better leader. I've always been a lead by example. I've never been one to, you know, hold people like accountable in the sense of like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. I just never feel like it's my place to say that because it's like, maybe one day I'm not doing it.
Right.
So I don't know. I've never really felt comfortable being the person to be that kind of leader. So I've always just been the energy. I've always been the energy for teams. And the best that I can do that is just be myself. And so if I can be the energy for teams, I think I just bring a comfort level on the court and off the court that like people really need to hold on to of like everyone, like volleyball is such an energy sport and you just need good energy on that court. And you know, I feel like I bring that, and maybe I'm a little bit confident saying that, but from experiences I've had, I definitely think that that's my strength is, you know, being that middle ground person for people.
We've interviewed recently Brielle Kemavor and Mia Lee, and there's a lot of energy on that team. Such incredible women. What's something fun or unexpected about this year's team that you feel like people should know?
Oh my gosh, well you just said it. We're so fun. We're so much fun. I mean, you had two of the greatest girls on your podcast, it sounds like, but I love them. BK, I came in with BK. There's no one like her. And Mia, funniest person ever, and she is just she's also an energy person, like, you know, just brings that energy. And so this year I don't know, there's a different vibe on the court. There's just a lot more of that fun energy that, I mean, a lot of people were coming up to me and they were like, you guys there's something different about the court this year, and it's just like, you guys are just having fun. And you guys are playing great because of it. We're just playing so loose. We're playing super calm, a lot more together. And I think that's a lot to do with, you know, these different components that have come in but also been here and gotten their opportunity. And I think the biggest thing for me personally is just that vibe. There's a different vibe on the court, and there's different energy, and it's a good energy.
What advice would you give to a younger girl who may be dreaming of playing volleyball at BYU one day?
Oh gosh. Don't give up. Don't quit. There's been a couple times in my career where I wanted to quit. I wanted to be done. But the heart is so worth it. It's so worth it. Like, you know, if it was easy, it wouldn't be as fun. And so I think the biggest thing I tell people is just like, keep pushing through the hard. There's going to be days where you just feel like you cannot handle it anymore. And that's at every single level. That's at every single sport. That's at every single activity you do. There's things that you want to be done with. But if you see these things through, even if it's not playing all the way to college, even if it's just playing in high school, maybe it's just playing, you know, middle school, maybe it's one season of volleyball and you just like are uncomfortable and you push through it, it's so worth it. And sticking with something you love to do is just, it makes me smile. It makes me happy. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just find your happiness and that hard can be part of it.
I'm here with Claire Little Chambers from the BYU women's volleyball team. She's an outside hitter. Claire, I can't wait to watch you the rest of the season. I loved your story. Thank you so much for taking the time with me.
Thank you for having me.
This episode was produced by Annie Robinson and Christy Solomon with senior producer Cleon Wall. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.